Can you all hear us and see us? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Volume is more important, I guess. I can see you on the screen.
Yeah, well, we can't, we can see you on one screen, but not the other.
Yes.
All right,
Good.
all right.
Volume is more important, I guess.
That's delayed.
Yeah.
Delayed.
Yeah,
that's seriously delayed.
They're not coming on the owl at all now.
All right, now you go.
Say something for me, y'all.
Hello?
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. There's, you got
Oh,
the check to
we're
working
bad
for both
technology
parties.
today.
All right,
Computer just shut down in there.
start with, everybody, I think we have Vanessa's here, and we have Sydney and Laura and
And Kawan.
Kawan. So we do have a quorum, so we can conduct business with us today. So let's begin, and we'll start with the minutes. So Ms. Guffey.
Yes, everybody should have received the minutes from April. Are there any changes that anybody would like to bring up today? Okay, motion to accept the minutes.
Get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Operations report, Mr. Kelly.
Okay, April 2026. Application submitted and pending. LCSW 14. No, LCSW 40, LSW 14, CSW 209.
That includes students.
Renewals, LSW 6, CSW 35, and LCSW 88. Temporary permits, clinical 7, non-clinical 1. Supervision contracts approved 82. Deferred 0. I approved 4 sponsors in April and 2 providers. And the total number of active licensees is 9,255.
Unbelievable.
Busy month. Busy month. Okay. Any questions on the report? All right.
Are we on live stream?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we
I
are.
put it down in here.
Oh, we are.
Double check.
That's why I was checking on the phone.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you, just double checking.
At least it was when I checked. Laura, Sydney, Kawan, anything? Mark? Did we lose them? Hello?
No, can you all hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I have anything to add.
No, no question. All right, need a motion to accept the operations report.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
All right.
There we go.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have the exam prep.
Yes.
Single mind, close the door. Do what?
Here's no close the door.
Oh, yeah, bro. I know, but
Thanks, Mike.
And exam prep, we have 50
50 registrations. All right.
registrations.
All right, good. All right. Very good. Very good, okay. Let's just see how the changeover of exam, how she handles that, because it's not happening in all this.
Yes.
Okay. All right, good deal. Anything else? You all,
No, we're set for the 5th and 6th.
except for this 6th of June, Friday and Saturday, right? All right, good.
Registration ends on the 30th.
Registration, yeah, right, registration ends on 30th, please get registrations in by the 30th. All right, so you can get your materials, this way for people to get their materials ahead of time, to work on everything. All right, finance committee, Kawan,
Oh, he said he had to step away, so we
Oops.
may have to come back to him.
Okay,
You'll
well,
hear his
we'll have to
video
come
on when he
back.
comes back.
all right, come back to that. Let's go on to applications. Sydney, Laura, anything on applications?
Sorry,
You
I
wanna
was
do
on
both?
mute. Yeah, I can do
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Okay, so, applicant number one, we had deferred from last month. And we're asking for, a specific letter, I think, to completion of probation. That applicant did, provide that to us, so we were, saying okay to test for applicant number one.
Okay. Any questions on applicant number one? The committee of two, so we don't need a motion or a second. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, got you. Even though
Okay.
Quan's, wait, there's still four of us. Okay. Next one?
Okay, and then applicant number two, we wanted to bring this forth to the board today because this applicant is paying a rather large restitution of $100,000
Much.
at the amount of about $100 a month. So it will take a long period of time to pay that restitution off. We are looking for the board's guidance on how to address cases like that. In this case, though, we did notice at the last minute that she had requested for her probation, I think, to be done, but has not heard back from them. So currently she's under probation. So that does answer what we need to do in this moment, but for any future restitution cases that might be more long term, we wanted to see how the board could best respond to those in the future.
I'm gonna defer to Mr. Ringleman right off.
This is Mark, and I want to comment that just because the person may get to end their criminal probation so that they're no longer under other terms and conditions, would not relieve them of a duty to make restitution, so far as I know, in any way. So they may be paying, I mean, like $100 a month the rest of their lives. So I would recommend that as long as they have a current track record of payments, that you could accept that as compliance. Usually you have people pay their entire debt to society and complete probation. But if this person is paying $100 the rest of their life, have they been already paying for a year? Have they been paying for 18 months? Have they been, and you all just decide what the threshold is to say, well, you've paid long enough for us to conclude you're going to keep paying it and we'll grant you a license. Otherwise, they would never get a license.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But at
think,
the same-
oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. At the same time, though, I think about the importance of being consistent, and we have always said they have to have completed all conditions. Or they don't, get to move forward with that. So, while I understand and I have so much empathy for that individual and understand that just paying $100 a month, is that fair to all of those that we have said, no, you haven't completed this condition, so you can't do it? I just think in the spirit of being consistent and being fair to all, that the amount of time they would be paying restitution should not matter.
This is Mark again. I agree with that perspective. And if that is the case, then what it means as a practical matter, in my opinion, is if you're paying something whopping like $100,000 back, you just may never be a social worker. And what's wrong with that? If you can borrow from friends and family or sell your home to pay it, maybe that shows the strive and honesty to make restitution and debt to society. But if you're paying $100 a month for the rest of your life, and that means you're just not gonna be a social worker, what's wrong with that?
Well, without knowing what the charge was, I mean, that's a
Well-
large restitution.
That's what I was gonna mention, if it's relevant for everyone, to be familiar with what we're talking about. It's $100,000 back to the cabinet, for fraudulent related issues.
Yeah, no, I'd stick with my first inclination, which is
Mhm.
you've got to complete all of your
Yeah.
conditions by that point.
Wow.
I think that's the only way to do it, to be fair and consistent.
And why should state government be treated any different than if it was a private employer?
Exactly.
I mean, $100,000 is $100,000.
Wow.
And that's a serious crime. So,
Yes.
yeah, just crazy.
Wow. Ew.
Okay, so, me and Sydney will figure out how to address that going forward then. Thank you.
Well, does
And
someone
with this-
want to make a motion to deny?
I'll make a motion for.
Well, and it's under the, she's still, this applicant's still under probation at the moment, so that's, you know, an automatic. So we can make that motion. We just want to know what to do in the future in these cases.
Maybe we can contact some other boards to see what they've done in similar circumstances or something, just to give us a little bit of context for this, because.
I don't know, I still think it would feel better if we stick with what we have
I
done
mean,
in the past
understand
and
what
stick
you're
with
saying,
that.
yeah, for sure, but wow,
Cause we set a precedent by saying you have to finish all
I know.
your conditions.
Okay, well, the probation, like you said, would make the deferral right now anyway, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Defer or deny?
oh, that's a denial.
It's
No.
deferred right now, is it? Or
I do
denied?
have one question before, and I think it's come up in previous meetings, what, and maybe that, like, the educators in the group can answer this, are we like kind of, obviously, like, I don't know when this happened for this applicant, but are we trying to help, applicants to the programs to, like, not essentially go through an entire, like, bachelor or master's program and then know that, like, a restitution for a, and I'm not saying, that would stop them from the profession that they just put a lot of school into.
So any good educational institution is going to have a disclaimer on their application or in other places that if you have a felony offense, then, you know, you need to check with your licensing board whether or not you can be licensed. However, Kentucky, you know, you don't have to get the social work license, so
You can get an education.
you can get the education, you know.
Yeah.
They can get the master's and not have to go get the license, or even the bachelor's degree and not have to get licensed, so, you know, I think just it's the responsibility and ethical commitment of the institution to make sure that folks know that, and, I think most of us do that.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
this is me needing to know though, that on this board, I hold a regulator hat and not a, I'm really
Yeah.
sorry that there's this restitution payment that's holding you back. We have to
Right.
stick to policy and to regulation. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, so thank you guys very much for your insight and
Yes.
yes, yeah, so.
So defer until probation is complete or deny until probation is complete? So I'm gonna have to be the one to tell this person.
Yeah. Well, right now, it would be denied.
It would be a
Deny
denial.
until, okay, so we'll do, we're gonna do a motion for that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, jump ahead.
But is that all right with the committee?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. All right, so the motion would be denied until probation is completed and.
Okay.
Uh,
You might say all conditions completed,
All conditions,
yeah.
okay.
because that way we'll get the
Say right now.
restitution piece
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
All conditions.
Okay,
should we, well, since Vanessa is the one sharing that message with her though, like if
Yeah.
we say, till all conditions are completed, my follow-up question would be, well, I'm never gonna be able to pay off $100,000, so I'm never gonna meet my condition. So
Yeah.
are you not willing to license me?
Sorry.
that's what it's
Yeah.
gonna mean.
Yeah, okay. I just,
Is,
yeah,
right?
I got it. If they ask multiple, I'll defer them back to you all. Does that
Yeah,
sound
right,
good?
they can always
Yeah.
refer back to the committee.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kwan, are you back with us yet?
Yes, sir, I am. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir, we
Yes.
got you. I just want to know if you heard all that discussion, so, because we got a motion to deny.
So I didn't hear all of it, but I'll add my 2 cents at the end that it sounds like if somebody is being asked to pay $100,000 in order to get their license back. We're not denying them the opportunity, just in the same way that if somebody were to have when you're put in jail and your bail, what's it called, the bail or whatever is super high, people can make a way to do the things that they really, really want to do. So it's not that we're denying it. It's not feasible and it's not likely, but it's not a denial. So I just want to offer that point of clarification.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
That's really well said, Kwan. Thank you.
Yeah.
No worries. And that's without even knowing what I'm talking about, because I didn't hear but since I am on the financial committee and we're talking about money, I figure I'd throw that part out there. No teasing.
Okay. All right, all in favor of the motion? Aye.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Well, come on, we'll go back to the finance committee.
All right. My apologies for running behind. I'm off the clock, but I am physically at work, which means sometimes there's things that have to be addressed as the supervisor. So that being said, the financial report, which is as of May 6th, the report was ran on May 7th. That's where this information comes from. Our year-to-date revenue is $359,297.62. Last month's revenue, this is April 2026, was $35,716.48. In regards to our year-to-date expenditures, we are at $526,394.44. And again, this is as of May 6th. Last month's expenditures, so the month of April 2026, was $105,781.15. Our current cash balance is $507,067.63. Our year-to-date appropriation, $838,600. And our unexpended, unobligated finances are $312,205.56. So we are now officially 10 out of 12 months into the fiscal year. So we're 83% of the way through the year. And we have used 37.2% of our budget as unexpended. And
Okay. Questions?
all right.
Well, good, thanks, Kwan. While we have basically with the state, 838,600, like you said, they're only gonna allow us to use 653,500 next year.
Oh,
Yeah, just so keep that in mind for the finance committee.
say that one more time, please. 650 what?
653,500.
So
Even though
that's-
we've got that 838.
So that would be our fiscal year 2027 yearly appropriation?
Yes, sir. That'd be the figure you're using to measure the burn rate against everything.
Is there a reason? Did they give a reason?
The legislature doesn't give a reason. We just get a notice. That's how it works. I mean, it's just how things work. It's not- it's just-
But we can always borrow from our cash balance.
If we have more expenditures, we've got the money there, so we can petition to use it if we have to, so. I mean, it's just the way that works. Last year, we were given all of it, to use it, we didn't, so.
So they're giving us an allowance out of our own money is what I'm hearing.
That's
So-
how it works. It's our licensee's money, but the state tells us how much we can use of our own money. The licensee's money.
So if we need to use more, then we'll have to
make a special request if we, but use that 63.5 when your budget, or, doing the budget and everything next year, because that's got to show up here somewhere, I guess. So it will show up on the report for you, but just so you're ahead of time to keep that number in mind and realize that we do have more than that, like you reported, but next year we haven't expended that much this year, and the next 6 weeks are unlikely to expend all of it anyway, so we're not in any danger of having issues, so that's the good part. So
that's
just
definitely good to know.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I would like to make a motion to to go ahead and to allow for us to I guess pay for the travel and expenses for today for those of you that are in person.
Okay. All right, the per day motion. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 So, oh, and an addendum, all but Janessa. Janessa doesn't get
Yeah.
hers. No, I'm just teasing. I'm teasing, my friend. I'm absolutely teasing.
That's okay, I just do it out of the goodness of my heart.
Well, we are social
It's the
workers.
right thing to do.
Right thing to do.
That's it.
Okay. Probably can make another motion, go on to accept the finance report that you gave.
Ah, yes, I would like to make a motion that you guys accept my finance report.
Need a second for that one.
Second.
All right. Got a second. Any questions or? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Kawan.
Yeah, thanks, Quan.
Yeah. Now we move on. Move on to the
Right.
complaint committee.
All right. So we've got a few today. In the case of 2584, dealing with dual relationships and boundary violations. 2597, also dealing with dual relationships and boundary violations. And 2643, which is dealing with dual relationships and boundary violations, as well as fraud and misrepresentation. The complaint committee moves to file a notice of administrative hearing and order settlement authority given to board counsel based on the complaint committee stipulations.
Right. 84 has a sexual component to it,
Yes,
was thoroughly investigated. 97 was the,
there was a inappropriate relationship of
of a sexual nature.
a sexual nature, yes, with that one, and then.
49 was, dual relationship, not of a sexual.
43,
43,
Yeah.
43, sorry, was not of a sexual nature, but more of a social relationship via social media, et cetera.
and taking
And
folks to
taking
dinner
people
and
to lunch,
church
to
and
dinner,
things like that,
church.
yeah.
Whatever, just so you know the difference between those three. Questions? Questions?
No questions
you-
here.
Not sure you have some questions on these three. Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Yeah.
Aye.
All right, the next one is,
Just one, procedural note, it's a committee of two or more, so we don't need the motion in a second.
in the case of 2657 involving failure to report child abuse. What we discovered is that while there doesn't appear to have been a violation, as a social worker, there is a possibility that maybe as an individual, this person, actions may need to be looked at. So we, the complaint committee moves to refer the matter to another government agency, which would be the county attorney where that person resides.
See if there's any violation of, because it wasn't during practice of social work, so. We don't get these kind very often, but we have to refer to the appropriate agency.
Yeah.
The investigation. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, and the last batch we have is 2650 related to failure to escalate a sexual assault by a staff person. 2645, which was a retaliation accusation
By employee.
by an employee, yes, sorry. 2658, a complainant was not allowed into a telehealth group session, so they have filed a complaint, so that fell under other. And 2659, a matter related to misdiagnosis. And for this batch, the complaint committee moves to dismiss all of these as there was insufficient evidence to support the initiated complaint.
Quite a gamut there. Complaint.
I have a question.
Sure.
In
Right,
regard
is
to,
it-
in regard to the misdiagnosis, may I ask what the diagnosis was?
That we don't know.
It didn't give,
It was an involuntary commitment.
yeah, it's a voluntary commitment.
Oh, I see.
The accusation was that they had been involved, and the accusation was from a family member, and they were saying that they acted as a social worker and was interfering, and they were not, they were acting as a
Private citizen.
private citizen concerned family member.
And just a caveat to that, within the committee is kind of noting that the involuntary commitment act in Kentucky, any interested party can file a petition. You don't have to be a QMHP or anything, so this person was acting in their private the role as a private individual, not as a social worker, even that, so. The diagnosis would not have come from the social worker, it would have come from the evaluator, not from the petitioner. Does that make sense, Kawhi?
It does. So we're talking about like a 202A, formerly mental
Yeah.
inquest warrant. So yeah. Yeah, that would have been the actual person diagnosing them, not the petitioner is what I'm hearing.
Correct. And the
Right.
practitioner was just acting on behalf of her family.
Okay.
It was this was not this person had never been their patient, their client. They were just acting on behalf of their family.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Sure, sure. Anybody else? Okay. All in favor of dismissal of these four? Aye.
Aye.
I,
All right.
That's it.
Any opposed? Thank you. Very good. All right. ASAD updates, the only thing I have was that there's a call for proposals for research, so if anybody's interested in research, go to the website and look up what they're looking for. There's a new board member training online in June, and then another one, the live one is in October.
Do we have any updates on our vacancies?
No, holiday chest, so, anyway, that's all I don't know if you had anything else. I don't have anything else. All right, social work compact, good news on that front is that the agreement to design the software and error and payment and all that is now done. So we now have a projected timeline. It will take approximately 9 months to have a working software for the data system so that we can start issuing licenses. Probably, no, let's not get too excited, since there are now 33 states and maybe 34
Nice.
in the compact now. It probably won't be all states at one time because the system might be, it will have to be tested and there will have to be some kind of a plan of who gets in first. That'd be the next kind of thing. I'm advocating for the first 7 to be in, by the way, so that Kentucky is in, but hey. That might not be what everybody else wants, but we'll see. But anyway, at least the good news is that we've now got a timeline we can start looking at so that all of our work for applications and stuff can project when. And we talked about, we'll get into the regs here, but all of that, at least we kind of have a better timeline to deal with that on the issue. So good news finally on that front for projecting when and when we do the regs, and that'll help our licensees know when it's gonna be and how to plan for it and all that good stuff. So good news on that.
Hank,
Yes, sir.
who are the 2 to 3 states that are potentially being added?
Well, the first 7 states, I don't think I can remember all of them, but Missouri was first. They were the first state, that was in actually 23, I believe. We passed the law in 24. We were number 5. Kansas was in there, so there's, the first 7 are actually fairly, in other words, when you're doing testing software, you're kind of looking for, not just the most advanced states, but states that may not have, it's all gonna depend on the technical systems within the states, how they can do uploads and that kind of stuff that has to be interfaced with the software, so.
Right.
Getting a broader spectrum across the country as well as, because we've got Washington State on the west coast, we have Maine on the east coast. So, it might be consideration on that.
Right.
The newest states are West Virginia and Wisconsin,
Okay, good.
so. The business is that, is that whole testing, we won't know anything about that for a couple of months or 3 months probably. There's a special meeting of the Compact Commission on June 10th. We have to elect a member to the executive committee. We also have to deal with there was a law passed in New Mexico that will probably prevent them, it's on the commission meeting. Prevent them from joining because it's not materially, it's out of line with what everybody else has agreed to. Similar to what South Carolina, not the same, but what South Carolina had done. Hopefully South Carolina has corrected theirs, it looks like. Or maybe, I don't know. That's legal, or legal advice, we'll have to see on that. And then, there's a special meeting in September and then the annual meetings in November. So hopefully with the cadence there, we can have the rules from the compact to help court, be in line with the development of the software and be ready to go in March next year. Does that help? Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm
Yeah,
excited to hear about Wisconsin. I have a great colleague in that state, so it might be some
Okay.
good paternal referral opportunities there.
And, you can pass on the information because it's, hopefully there will be an announcement made on the website, but a lot of times people don't see the website to see it, so. Spread it to the boards. The boards have all the delegates have been notified, so hopefully all the boards will know, from that. So regulations and, Mr. Nichols to help us with these. He's formulated the regulations we talked about last time and trying to incorporate all the changes we talked about. First off is fees, which the change in fees would be just setting a fee for the multi-state license. And so, y'all came up with the idea of just taking the current fee and using it for the multi-state license, so that's what we incorporated into that. So, and it helps us with our finances, doesn't, in other words, we're not gonna be negatively impacted by that, so. That's the only change on that, right, Mr. Bivens? Okay.
Yes.
The equivalency, we didn't have anything on that one. And then the per diem we didn't have any changes on that one, and then the national exam, we took out that remediation part. And we put in the score. Put in a score thing,
Yes.
because we had, you looked at the score, it's in the reg now about the score to pass the test.
Passing score.
Passing score, so that's in the reg, so. Those are the amendments and changes to those regs, so any questions on those four?
I have one actually.
Sure.
So with them mirroring each other, like the fees mirroring each other, if we were to at some point increase our fees or lower our fees for at the state level, would they automatically mirror the interstate compact, or would we have to make sure that we had like vote on them to make sure they?
We'd have to vote on them. We could keep the multi-state license fee the same, even, say you're an LCSW, so say we raise the LCSW fee to $225, we could keep the multi-state license fee at 200.
Got it.
Two separate. And so we would deal with that. That's why we want to keep the multi-state license separate and not mix them with the others. And probably too, is kind of like as we start the compact, if you're already in your 3-year cycle, and you get the multi-state license, in our survey, everybody wanted it to, the two licenses to have the renewal dates at the same time, which makes sense. So as somebody comes into the system, if they have already into their renewal cycle, their 3-year cycle, then the fee would be prorated for the balance of the year, so that if they've already had a year in, then they would only do it, divide the 200 by 3 roughly, and then they would be charged that fee, and that's just to kind of keep it from being hey, I've been 2 years licensed and I'm gonna get the multi-state license, so I paid $200 for 1 year. Then I have to pay again, years later, so we would, looking at prorating that. Whenever somebody, because it wouldn't be the first time, it could be any time later that somebody could come in and, but it's just to keep that renewal dates the same. That'd be a lot easier for our renewals if we kept them all the same. So that's why we looked at prorating it for people who didn't do it. Exactly, because they don't have to, because multi-state license is separate from their state license. Does that make sense as far as how we would try to coordinate that? To help Kwan?
You can't see y'all, you're gonna have to.
I go say, yeah, I have to look over here to the side, because the main screen, I don't see you. If you raise your hand, I don't see it.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
It does help, I guess, not getting overly nuanced, but as far as prorating, are we gonna look at per month or per year? Or like at what level would it be prorated?
Mostly at per year, as
Got it.
best we can, yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if we are gonna get too nuanced as far as the nickels and dimes.
We would try not to, we just don't want, we kind of want to make it fair for everybody enough so that, you don't pay too much, for when you come in and get the license.
Okay, sounds good.
We might round it off to, it's like, if it's a year and a half or 6 months or something, we might do that, but we haven't gotten that granular just yet. It's just kind of the idea of prorating it so that somebody doesn't pay 200 in their last year and then have it for 1 year and then have to redo it, pay 200 again the next year for the multi-state license. So, but keeping those numbers the same helps with the finance part of it, so that was a good idea. So if that's all, if those are okay, then need a motion to adopt those, all 4 of those, so that Mike can formally submit to get a number for the national exam one, and then finish submission of those so that we get them moving into the regulatory process of comments, all that good stuff. So moved. All right. Need a
Second.
Thank
Second.
you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. Now, this one, 025 applications. We've done some work on that. We've talked a little bit about that, but this is where that law about predetermining comes into play, as well as an application for the multi-state license. Those are the 2 big pieces that come into this one. The whole, and that it would help in that application that we had to deny, because somebody coming in to want to go to, university, they say, check on your felony charges. This law would say that person can fill out an application with us, that we can make some predeterminations about it to send back to them to say, yes, if you satisfy all your probation and your restitution, et cetera, you can get a license. Just use that as an example. So that's how the law would impact our regulation. So we would have something in our regulation. We have to have a form for it that says yes, no, whatever. So we would have new forms to do with that.
We've already got requests.
Yeah, we've already got requests for it. The law's not even in effect yet. But we've already got one pretty demanding person.
Yes.
We can't give you a form that we don't even have yet. Anyway, so, because, the person probably really does need to know, so I don't think it's a bad idea, I think it's a good idea in the sense of somebody knowing up front, because if you got $100,000 or $1 million restitution, you're never gonna be able to get it done. You might not want to pursue the cost of MSW or BSW and then not be able to get a license, so it's not a bad thing. So it's just, we have to get the processes in place in order to comply with the law. And we've got a timeline on this one. We got to get this one done by 1st of January. Is that right? Yes.
Yes.
I understand. Yeah. So that one, we have a timeline. We don't usually have timelines on things, but we have one on that one. And you've got it in your packet. I didn't know if anybody had comments on those 2 sections. And make any amendments or changes. If Nichols has anything. Those. So, should be. It's the first one in the package should be.
I don't have that.
You don't have that one?
Nope.
Oh, wow, okay. Ooh, I messed up
My email.
messed up and I thought I'd sent that. Maybe it's just between me, I'm like, no, sorry. It might have been just the two of us because we were trying to get that, that's what it was. So I didn't send it out to you, so.
Okay, I thought I had.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. Mike and I were still exchanging emails about stuff, before we submitted, so just that one, don't we? More of that, but at least you got some of the background as to that one's coming down the pipe too. For
Well,
us.
I am glad to hear that, Hank, because I was starting to get some FOMO. I just thought you didn't like me no more. I was like, oh, you didn't include me. I'll just pretend like I got it, just 'cause I don't want to look irresponsible.
Yeah, that's right. I put it on here, but then I forgot, okay, we were still having some exchanges to close that one. Okay, all right, good deal. All right, renewals, terminations and reinstatements. That's the first one you have. There is the law that we have to have, are they employed? So we have to have a job description.
So I have a question about this one.
Yeah.
And maybe it's been discussed and I just missed it, but, under, 6B. When you're, listing workforce participation, information, degree level, that kind of stuff. The last one says, and the ability to meet the needs of those covered under the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act. How are we determining that?
I don't know.
Like, are we just saying, are you able to? And if they say yes, that's fine, or is there a criteria they have to, I mean,
There was nothing in the law about it, about how do we determine that. That's why it's not worded very well, because it's like, I don't know.
I think
They
we have
say
to
they
figure
are.
that out.
Yeah, or I don't know, maybe we can throw it out. I can look into the.
Or
law.
throw it out, I don't know, it just,
But
I
it's-
just don't know how we determine
Yeah,
that.
it's a data thing that the state wants that, I mean, it's in,
Maybe other states have figured it out.
I'll take a look.
Steal from them, I don't know, it's just,
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, how do we even determine that? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we could ask, are you doing it? I mean, honor code, yes or no, but who's gonna say no? Like, who in their right mind would say no? Right, so I don't know, it seems too ambiguous to me for, and we like to make sometimes in policy, but I mean.
Anything in the law, it just said you're supposed to make that determination,
I think so. I think it's a statutory
statutory thing.
directive, but we'll take a look at it, see if we can
See if we can.
make it clear.
Sorry.
No.
It makes no sense to me that I'm like, how am I gonna figure that out?
Yeah, it's important who we ask those, but sometimes the statute's a little ambiguous too. That's part that, right?
And sometimes it's good to be, vague, you want it to be a little vague, but in this situation, I think it comes back to us if we're having to determine
Well,
that.
and the other one in there is that, it asked for the NPI number. Well, not all social workers had the NPI number, so.
Well, that was my question.
They will take, NA, it doesn't apply.
That was my question, if all of
The
them
system
are
requires
required.
us to Put in NA because we can't require social workers who don't need it, don't want it, to go apply for an NPI number. But that's in the law, so we have to.
They
put it
really
in.
ought to go get it, yeah.
Maybe, but so I mean, it's just, those are the kind of things that it's just kind of like, sometimes when we have to do regulations, it's because of other statutes, not necessarily because of what we, so this is where that one is. And then we have to put in and that's the other thing, we have to put in for reinstatements now, they have to have a criminal background check, so that one has to be.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So, anyway, so. Yeah, anything else on that one? No, all right. Yeah, I'll check on that, Mike, and let's see if we can clarify something.
Will do.
Back, we'll bring these back to, for y'all to look at again. Temporary permits, Lordy. Part of that one is, impacted by. Did I send that one to you too?
Yes.
Okay. That one is impacted by, again, background check, just, we were allowed to revoke the temporary permit, so we'll have new forms for revocation if we run into those instances. And we can do an emergency order on temporary permits. So those forms are there, you know. And the background check, so. Good. Questions on that one? Okay. All right, next one is the Code of Ethical Conduct. We've talked about this one numerous times. Uh, Don't, I don't remember if there was anything we added since the last time we looked at it. I thought I marked it. I thought there was one, but I don't see it now. But it is. Oh, I know what it was. Definition of client, that asked Mark and Mike to look at that as clarifying. We have a definition of client in the statute now. And we've. And again, the 5-year rule, people are, well, why do y'all have a 5-year rule? Well, we have it in Kentucky, from what I understand, that y'all can check on this, but I was. When that came into the code, what, 2014? That there was a case, the board had an administrative decision made, and they said you can't say client for life. Although that's kind of been the traditional thing of interpreting client, here once a client, always a client. Which is not a bad rule. It really isn't. It's just that apparently the board was told that we had to do a term. That's for the 5 years. So I don't know if y'all guys can check on that or not. You see it, but you know, but that's what was said at the time. Because I remember it clearly, because it was a big change in the code at the time. To make a year determination. And the board came up with 5. The only other board in Kentucky that I know of at the time, some of the boards had 2 years. We didn't have it in our code. And the board felt the 2 years was too short, so they went with 5. The counseling board now has 5 years for, I think they call it, what, intimate relationships? I think so. But 2 years, otherwise, I think theirs reads that way. Psychology still reads 2 years.
But the psychology law, the code of conduct
Yeah.
does say that can be extended if the person is vulnerable by
Exactly.
means
Yeah.
of whatever. So I've always wondered, there's gonna be a test case where someone says,
Vulnerable.
yeah, how did I know they were vulnerable? And it's been 3 years and, you know, I'm past the 2-year mark.
So I don't know. I don't know, we can, you know, if we need to keep it or not, but it's in our current code of conduct. But it's always the question, how did you ever do that? So, well. You know, but trying to make sure that, you know, if we want to keep the 5-year rule or change it. But making it specific to the definition that's in the statute now. I think that was the only one we had on that one. Okay, sorry. So, and last but not least, it's the reading rate. There's a couple of additions on this one. One page. I don't have page numbers on it, sorry. That, let's see. I think I marked it, highlighted it. Yes, section 7. 8 and that 8 is added. Section 7(8) is an addition, so you can look at that. Might not go under this section because it's talks about the supervisor record, so it may need to move, but the wording is the supervisor record shall make appropriate arrangements to ensure continuity of supervision for each supervisee in the event of supervisor's vacation, illness, unavailability, or incapacity. Supervisor record shall remain responsible for ensuring continuity of professional services provided by the supervisee. we've had a few complaint cases where the supervisor in one sense seemed to have disappeared. Later found out that it was some type of medical emergency, but technically during that time, no supervision took place, which would be out of compliance, and not only out of compliance with the reg, big deal is how much harm could have happened to the clients that the CSW was seeing because they didn't have the proper supervision. So that's where that word, and it might need to be in a different section, but under that section 7 of additional supervisors, which is where, in one sense, it's like if the supervisor of record has that responsibility, similar to a clinician like myself who has clients on vacation or whatever, is making sure that the clients are provided for, or if he has to, then that would be. That an additional supervisor would be on the contract. Not, it's just that they should make that arrangement. If they can take care of it themselves, that's perfectly fine. Something in order to. Vanessa, did you see where there was another mark, or was that the only one?
Section
there's
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. Okay. Yes. Second page, a couple spots. Oh, yeah. Shall not condition the documentation, verification, or reporting of supervision hours actually obtained on the payment of fees. In other words, if there's a payment of fees arranged between the supervisor of record and the supervisee, that those fee disputes are between the two of them, but they can't withhold verification of hours to the board. Because the person obtained the hours, they need to document, because it would be holding somebody up for their license potentially if they didn't submit that. So that's where that was a complaint to, right? Yes, so that's.
Just a thought on that section 7, number 8.
Yeah.
Would it make more sense for that to be under documentation of supervision, the very last one?
Yeah, that's.
And then transition into talking about additional supervisors,
That's
just for flow.
Just for flow, that's why I was
Yeah.
thinking maybe it does,
I think you're right.
Maybe that one needs to be moved, make it.
I think if that was the one, then it flows into additional supervisors, that might.
Yeah.
Just for readability and.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause if I'm looking for that, I'm probably gonna go to that section first.
Yeah, right.
I have a point of clarification.
Yes, sir.
So bearing that in mind, as far as if there's an agreement of payment between the supervisor and supervisee, that the supervisor must provide proof of hours. On the flip side, if the supervisee is not up to date on their payment, does that mean that the supervisor is within their rights to withhold the proof of hours?
It says the opposite. They can't, but
They can't withhold.
they want to pursue the supervisee to get payment, that's between them and the supervisee. They can have small claims.
I was gonna say, that's a small claims court issue.
But we don't want to hold somebody up for licensure because they have that kind of dispute.
Okay, got it. Because I guess the way that I heard it and interpreted it is like, oh, so it's the flip side.
Yeah, flip side. Or at least that's what I was trying to say, so we need to reword it. Reword it.
There are some supervisors that are not gonna like that.
I agree, but we can't penalize the supervisee because they're having some dispute and can't get the documentation.
And they probably should be supervisors.
Well, right, I mean, they need to make that clear.
A lot of
It's
them are
like
gonna
you
be
can't-
paid by their agency anyway for it.
It's kind of like, I have to make clear that, to supervise, if a client comes in and they can't pay, I have to make some determination about that.
Right.
I can't refuse services, and, just have to work out something with you. Yeah. We had one rather involved case that we could never get the documentation, and it seemed to be had been fault on both sides, whether it was the supervisor or the CSW, I don't know, in the sense of getting their hours, but yeah, we just don't want to stand in the way. If I have anything that keeps or can be misleading, that they can withhold
Well, and even if the supervisor doesn't want to submit the hours because they don't feel like the supervisee is appropriate to be a social worker,
That's a whole different.
they still have to submit the hours. And I
It's the
include that.
Right, this state,
Statement.
yeah, this state that, you know, they've completed all the hours, but I still don't think, and I've told them before now that I'm not going.
I would almost think that they should report that to the board before the point to say, I'm really concerned, or if they're at an agency working, I feel like there's an ethical obligation that you would let the agency know, especially if you're providing supervision within that agency.
I think that's where, you know, when we're doing the 6-month evaluations, I think that's where the supervisor should be telling the supervisee, hey, I don't think I'm gonna be able to recommend you for the license.
Yeah.
And that should have been dialogued in those 6 months super evaluations before they get to 150 hours.
Right, but I've had supervisors call me and say, well, the reason why I didn't release the hours is because I don't think they're fit to fulfill an LCSW role. And I'm like, well, you still gotta release the hours, but you can include that in your evaluation.
Because they're asked that on the evaluation to make that statement. But it should not be a surprise to the CSW that I have 50 hours in, and you then be told, oh, I'm not gonna recommend you for the test.
Right.
That should never be a surprise.
Right.
But, you know, that's why I think the written evaluations are a good place where that can be happening, so that, you know. It's not a surprise at the end, but like I said, don't withhold the hour. Because I mean, if they need 4 hours, you're still gonna have to document all the hours.
Right.
Oh. Okay, all right, we'll start formatting on the, Mr. Nichols.
Will do. Will do.
Bring these back next month and see if we need to make any further tweaks
Sure.
and move these on. All righty, Sydney. Your work group.
Yes.
How we
We
doing?
we are currently sitting at 5 members. That does not include Mark and myself, so I guess you could say 7. Janessa and Whitney have been gracious to help me locate a couple students so we can have a bachelor's level and a master's level student on the committee. So we're excited to get those rolling. But I wanted to let everyone else know if anybody else wants to join that's on the board, just let me know and I'll make sure that you get linked in whenever we finally get to meet.
All right, and Laura, if you want to join this, Laura Duffy. She was at the ASWB meeting and we talked about supervision across the board, and she made a good point to let, you know, we've always emphasized it just with the LCSWs, that maybe LSWs and non-clinical MSWs need supervision too. So I don't know if you want to join the committee and listen in on that, and, because that would be a big change for the board, but again, it's a good idea, because we've always been heavy on one end, maybe. And we had some good things to say, so, Laura,
Yeah, I'd be happy to join that.
okay. Because it is students, even though it's an LCSW clinical piece of it, you might want to listen in to see how. Because that would be a future change to the regulation and posture of the board as far as that goes, and working with schools and stuff, so I don't know.
So then maybe, once you guys set up a schedule of meetings, we could let the board members know, so if somebody wanted to pop in and just kind of observe that process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we may not want to attend all of them, but there may be times that we want to just pop in and. I think that just adds transparency too. So, thank you, Sydney.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep,
Cindy.
no problem. And Kawan, to answer your question, the committee is to help guide regulations for student supervision, so clinical student supervision is the purpose, is to line those out and get those formalized. And we're trying to get input from every stakeholder in the situation.
I think it's good that she's involving students on this one too, so. Okay.
I think it would be poor practice to create regs that impact students and not have students involved in the process, so.
Yeah, I think that would be, yeah, right, I think that would be, yeah, so good. And, at least we're not on a timeline on it, but, more we can, yeah, good deal. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Brinkman. Anything on our warrants?
No, we don't have any further update. Is there an implementation date that's effective?
For this new or for the work group? No,
Oh, I'm sorry, are you on the student supervision or
yeah,
warning?
I'm
criminal?
going down
Warrant
to the
criminal.
warrant criminal.
Okay, yeah, I know there's a deadline on the other, never mind.
Yeah, we don't have a deadline on the other one.
I don't have any other further update yet.
Okay. All right.
Your board was one of several boards that has that passed, and we've got plenty of examples of, if you needed a regulation, plenty of examples to use from.
Other boards, yeah. Yes.
Got it.
Okay, all right. I don't have anything for new business, anybody? Issue for new business? All right.
Hank, I kind of wanted to talk about what we talked about at the education meeting where, because Hank had told me there's only like, I think you had said like 471 LSWs in the state.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't see LSWs really around even in my work here in Northern Kentucky, really, unless they're like, I see them a lot in like nursing home sales and things like that. And, but I think it's a valuable conversation to have a lot with some of our programs to like talk about what does it look like as an LSW doing macro work and stuff like that. And so I'd be happy to do that in some kind of format, like to kind of talk about my work and that is an option to do that. And that it doesn't necessarily have to go a clinical direction.
I was saying, Lauren, I had that discussion, just us, I thought it'd be a good idea to, because she's on the board, she's an LSW and the VSW level court, to be available.
Maybe that's a summer campaign for us.
Yeah.
Laura, you could record some videos, we could put them on our Facebook pages and send it out to the KSWE. And ask them to share it out in their undergrad programs. I know I could share it on our school Facebook page. I think that would be really good because what I hear from students a whole lot is, I'm not gonna do that because I'm gonna go on and get my master's degree, so why would I?
Yeah, but
And that's what I hear from them. So few of them stop at the BSW level. So they wait.
But I think, and to a certain extent, if we're, what Laura and I talked about, to a certain extent, it's kind of like a BSW can do a lot of things, and LSW is valuable.
Yeah,
And we're
Yeah.
one of the few boards that license at that level.
I think it'd
And I
be
think
cool to
we've
do a whole summer
over
campaign.
time, we've short circuited and left them out. Because we've emphasized MSW so much that we haven't, maybe it's time to kind of go, wait a minute, hey, they spend a lot of money to get to college. Let them know what job opportunities and careers are available for them at that level.
Maybe they
And
can
licensure.
Zoom info session or something.
Yeah.
I think we make it a whole summer campaign
Yeah.
to try to get
I
more.
I was kind of envisioning something more like, more in person or like something in this kind of mode where I'm doing like something on Zoom, things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, cause, to have people ask direct questions about like how they feel about like, oh yeah, I would like to go more of a macro direction because I've done all of this work helping directly in my community. Say like maybe they were doing something more direct, like they did their placement in like a homeless shelter. And
Well, Vanessa and
working
I,
more directly with people versus and less of a clinical direction.
Vanessa and I were thinking about making that a listening session.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
I
was just,
think would be great.
just wrote that down.
Maybe specifically invite the PSW directors or field directors or whatever to come to that meeting and talk about it. What do you think, Laura?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Let's, okay, maybe you and Janessa can talk about some dates and we can set a date up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I really do, because like. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities for PSWs.
You know, there's
Maybe
a-
they don't even know.
This,
I've heard from somebody, Mars.
this fall, we have KASWE coming up again, Hank, and I can't remember who the host is off the top of my head.
I think it's Western.
Is it Western? Okay,
I think,
so I wonder if one of our student sessions couldn't be,
yeah, could be something.
you know, what's the value of each of these levels of licensure?
Yeah.
Because we encourage our students to go, we wanna have sessions just for them. And then we could have folks representing each of those levels of licensure and a board member or two to pop in to really promote that. I'm like, cause I don't know that our students know, and I don't know if we do a good job as educators doing that. I mean, I like to think we do, but I don't know that we do.
I was gonna say involving the BSW directors and program directors and field directors and stuff, because they do a lot of work.
Maybe that's a special session just for our BSW program directors and field coordinators, just to really talk to them about that.
Yeah.
Field directors,
Yeah.
practicum directors, whatever we're calling them.
Yeah.
All kinds of different languages for it.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah,
That's
you're
a great
welcome.
idea. Good idea.
Oh, come on. Juan?
Oh, yeah. So, well, I have a different topic I wanted to say, but before I want to piggyback off of what Laura was saying, actually, I wonder if with that listening session, if maybe less emphasis on just the LSW in of itself and more emphasis on here's all of the opportunities for social work careers, because I do think that, I don't know, I started off as a psychology major and somebody's like, hey, you know, you can do the same thing with the degree in social work. I was like, cool, say less, I'm switching. But I think a lot of people, like, they know I want to help people, but maybe they don't even know, like, they know what macro is because they learned about undergrad, but they might not really know what all the opportunities for macro work is. So I think I love the idea of like Laura and them emphasizing like those type of things, but as opposed to making it so much about here's why you should get an LSW, it's kind of like here's what all you can do as a social worker, and here's how an LSW can kind of support that, if that makes sense.
That makes good sense. I like that.
So I really love that. Okay, so actually what I want to mention was kind of piggybacking off what Genesis was saying earlier about the vacancies, not so much the vacancies, but the other hand, as far as the positions that aren't vacant. There's a couple of board positions that I think are, you know, mine included, that are coming for renewal. So as far as, I guess the elephant in the room would be as far as the renewal process and like go ahead and saying we need to throw our hat in the name, like is there like the reapplication process, or like what do we need to do as far as like that piece? Like so I didn't know if that was an offline type of situation, if that was something we need to say in the.
It doesn't have to be, it can be offline, but you know, all you have to, if you want to stay on the board, you have to go to the boards and commissions and fill out the application like you did the first time.
Got it. I already have people gunning for my position saying, hey, I saw your, I'm like, well, hang on now, I'm still here. They're like, oh, well, I didn't know if you'd want to do it again. I'm like, I just got here. Yeah, I want to do it again. But yeah, so I better hurry up and do that for people poach my position. But yeah.
Well, it's technically already posted, so.
Yeah, they're coming for it. All right, cool. Well, I just want to throw that out there because I feel like that's important business before I wake up and realize I'm not on the board no more.
Yeah, you know, you have to wait for all that, but the first step you have to take is to make the application, yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, good deal. Anything else? All right. Danielle, you're on.
I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that the policy decisions at all levels of government are coming home to roost. So really across the country, we're seeing things that will impact the workforce, like states kind of moving forward with lowering the Medicaid reimbursement rate or letting callbacks go through and all sorts of stuff. So it's important to watch that. With that, I always worry that another step to that is deregulation and just a kind of a natural conclusion I think people come to of, oh, we don't have enough people, let's just let anybody do this work. So watching the kind of like tentacles of that happen. Now that the Kentucky legislature is out of session, looking at longer term things that we can talk to legislators about. So if folks have things that you would like elevated, definitely let me know. And I can't remember my handwriting here, but later on in the summer, we'll convene a group of stakeholders. I've been meeting with folks individually, so I appreciate your help in having those individual meetings so the stakeholder meeting happen. I think that's it.
Okay, It could, yeah, got a couple of things for you.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy, 2026 so far. All the things that we're doing with, Kentucky Social Work Advocacy, Justice and Leadership are still flying high. A lot of good stuff happening in terms of the animal group and how we're working with, agriculture. We're gonna be doing a lot of interim session with that and highlighting the impact between kiddos and pets. And so it's the whole child abuse for the, as well as what we're doing with our animals. One really exciting thing, now the Mental Health Insurance Reform Task Force we've been talking about for 2 years. I'm on the board and we are now up to 44 states. So what we're doing, I'm gonna lead across the country. We're gonna start doing, and Janessa, I'm gonna meet with Catherine about this, looking for all of our schools. We're gonna use Kentucky as a template, so we can start kind of putting into our schools the things that we need to do to get students engaged while they're in school and they wanna do clinical work or not clinical work, they wanna do policy work to help support the clinical, micro, meso, macro. So we're gonna kick that off this summer, which I think will be really fun. So we'll be really busy with KSWE. And other than that, we're gonna kick off when school starts, our period poverty policy stuff. We might pick an additional one, but we really just want to get students started with something that everybody can relate to a period of time. But it's a great way to really get students engaged so we can hit 27 running like the crazy people will be in the next legislative session if we get through tomorrow's voting. So, all good.
All right. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, before we move to adjourn, I do want to go back to the item under old business warrant and criminal summons application.
Yeah.
And let you know that that case is going back in front of the judge, I believe June 9th. So I will have an update at the following meeting.
Okay.
And I've encouraged them to settle and resolve it by agreement. But the good news is that person who is the subject of that criminal case is nowhere to be found, is not done. So far, so good. I mean, that's part of the resolution right there.
Perhaps you might have a date on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Someone,
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
KSW is gonna be the 17th through 19th of September. Yeah.
Thank you all.
It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
Right, don't, try not to go too much heavy work here, come on.
Promises, man. Yeah, it's mental health month.
All right, thank y'all. Be careful out there.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.